Well, we're here. The Halloween special. Isn't this exciting? So we're going to be talking about 3 things I watched this year, and I'm going to be talking about them in completely different styles, as these shows and films vary greatly from one another. So, enough of me blabbering. Let's talk about my personal favorite on this list, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. Set in the distant future, vampires rule the night. However, their numbers are dwindling. In the middle of the night, a powerful vampire lord kidnaps a young noblewoman. Her concerned family hiring 2 skillful bounty hunters to return their daughter safely. One of them being D, a half-vampire, half-human. He is feared by both man and monster for his combat prowess. D is in a constant state of war within himself, as he's struggling to suppress the demon within his cursed bloodline. The bounty hunter gang, called the Marcus Brothers, comprised of Borgoth, the master crossbowman and charismatic leader, Nolt, a hulking giant who crushes his enemies with his mighty stake, the nimble blade master Kyle, the bedridden but powerful psychic Grove, and Leela, a master markswoman who has a grudge against vampires. Both Marcus Brothers and D are trying to outsmart one another while trying to catch up with the vampire and the captured noblewoman. Oh boy, where the hell do I begin? So, I remember watching this anime ages ago, and I remember enjoying it so much that I even had D as my old desktop wallpaper. So, since the Halloween season was upon me, I decided to give it a rewatch, to see if I still enjoyed this anime as I once did. And let me tell you, I was not disappointed. Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust takes all the best parts of westerns, gothic horror, sci-fi, and dark fantasy and puts it all into this one epic package. The world the film shows is beautiful, haunting, and very melancholy. It very much reminded me of the environmental storytelling of Ghost in the Shell. This world has been oppressed for so long to the point where it's slowly rotting away. I mean, the opening alone tells you all you need to know of just how petrified these people are. In the distance, you see this imposing castle looming over this town, which is all completely decorated in holy symbols. Even though in this world humans outnumber vampires, they're still incredibly terrified of them. Bit of a side tangent here, but the whole opening to this film is so cool. It just drips in atmosphere. It is a well-paced and masterfully animated action flick that I will be returning to every year. And if you're interested, I'll put down a link to this legend's YouTube channel where you can watch the whole thing for free. It is subbed, so if you're not a fan of that, the English dub for this anime isn't terrible actually. It definitely leaves a lot more to be desired, but it isn't incredibly cringe-inducing and wooden compared to the other dubs I've watched over the years. The vampire. Now that is a classic symbol of Halloween. And let's talk about another classic symbol of Halloween, the werewolf. And this werewolf is in London. Alright, we can transition now. An American Werewolf in London is a weird movie.
Can I have a piece of toast?
Okay, so the plot centers around these 2 American hitchhikers, David and Jack. They're on a trip through Europe that starts in northern England and eventually ends in Italy. As they're walking through the gloomy landscapes of northern England, they stop by a small village and enter a strange pub called the Slaughtered Lamb. The locals of the village seem odd and cold to outsiders. When Jack asks them about the strange symbol on the pub wall, the villagers soon become agitated and kick the boys out of the pub. Before they leave, the villagers warn the boys to stick to the road when heading through the moors. Like a lot of horror movie characters, they totally ignore this advice, and they both eventually get ripped apart by a werewolf. A couple of weeks pass by and David wakes up in a hospital, and he starts to feel like he's changing from within, changing into a monster. Werewolf in London is a horror comedy, and a pretty damn good one at that. How it's able to balance between being really visceral and dark to being really campy, lighthearted, and funny is very impressive. Seeing the body horror aspect of the film of David transforming into this werewolf is so terrifying. Here's the thing, right? Like a lot of people, I always thought that a werewolf isn't really scary anymore as a concept. It's kind of been overdone. But this movie makes it definitely unsettling, if nothing else. There's this one scene in particular where we see one of David's many victims, and they're in this subway, and they hear this howling coming from the darkness. And then you see the character slowly realize that they're in danger. And just this concept of thinking you're safe in a subway, only to get chased down by this horrible, horrific looking beast, and knowing that there's nothing you can do about it, man, that's kind of grim. But at the same time, this movie is genuinely really funny.
A lot of weather we've been having lately.
There is also a very tragic angle that this film has as well. I can't really talk about it without spoiling it, so if you want to watch something that's a bit silly and campy, but can still give you a bloody good scare, look no further than The American Werewolf in London. Alright, last thing on the list, Over the Garden Wall. I'm not gonna waste time introducing this, so let's just sit down and talk about it, because it's very, very interesting. Over the Garden Wall follows two boys, Greg and Wirt, brothers who are lost in a strange forest. On their quest to try and leave this bizarre wood, they come across the many inhabitants who reside in it. Though strange, the inhabitants are very friendly, though not all as well, as the boys are being stalked by a malicious entity, only known as the Beast. I have tried several times to do this segment on Over the Garden Wall, and I have come to a conclusion that words do not do this show any justice. All you've got to know is that Over the Garden Wall is one of the most unique, charming, and heartwarming miniseries that I've ever seen. The characters were incredibly likable, especially Greg's pet frog, who is the best character in the whole show, by the way, and I will not apologize for thinking that. How it manages to seamlessly transition from being cute and funny, to scary, to heartwarming, and back to funny again is really commendable. And just a lot of pitfalls that I've seen other animated TV shows fall into, either were flipped on its head, or it didn't bother me as much, because it's just so unique and I kind of looked past those problems. All I'm saying is, I cannot recommend Over the Garden Wall enough. At least for me, this will definitely be a show that I'll be returning to every autumn. So do yourself a favor and go watch it. It's only 6 episodes long, but I know for a fact you'll be craving for more. Well guys, that's it. A bit of a different video for Spooktober, but I still hoped you had a good time nonetheless, and until next time, bye. What? Again? Hey Artie, what's up, man?